Hello everyone and welcome to my top 5 PSP memories. Top 5 PSP memories, man. Now, of course, back in that day and age of handheld gaming, DS certainly came out on top. You know, obviously it sold way more, and it did have a lot of fantastic, great games. And I did play the hell out of my DS. But me being the PlayStation guy, let's talk about my top 5 PSP memories. I played the hell out of this thing. I loved my PSP, and I stuck with a PSP 1000 the whole, life cycle of this thing. I never upgraded, which I wanted to, but just never did. Point being, let's get into my top 5 PSP memories. Number 5 is actually buying a PSP. Now, much like my PS3 top 5 memories video, this was a long time ago. I was still in high school. I didn't have a whole lot of money. I didn't have a job just yet, so it was tough for me to get money. And I was busting my butt doing like chores and stuff like that to get a little bit of money from my mom and all that. And one thing about it was I didn't have a pre-order for the PSP at the time. I just didn't have a pre-order, so I just showed up to my GameStop on the day of release and just hoped that they had one. And the cool thing about my GameStop was the managers and the employees knew me there. They knew I came in all the time, and they knew sometimes I would make mistakes in not pre-ordering a game or what have you. So they would always hook me up. They saved a DS for me during Christmas, which was crazy for them to do that, right? That they saved the DS because the DS was a super hot seller at the time. But day one on PSP, they were just like, all right, and they just handed me a PSP right there. And I only had enough money for the system at the time, so it was, not only was it cool that the guy saved, pretty much handed over a PSP that they weren't sure of, because I think on their end they weren't supposed to sell it, but they still sold it to me anyway. And I only had enough for the system, but I was totally fine with that. I was like, yes, I got a PSP. And my mom was like, aren't you going to get any games with it? And I was like, no, I only have enough for the PSP. And she's like, well, you got to get a game, which was weird because for me, like, my mom did not have any sort of like idea about video games or anything. She supported the hobby, but she didn't like sort of have a real sense of caring or understanding or really giving a shit, I guess. But I guess it was cool that she did give a shit in this sort of situation, because she was like, well, which one do you want? So I picked out Need for Speed Rivals, I believe. Need for Speed Underground Rivals, is that the name of the game? That was a PSP launch type. Yeah, that was my first game. That was a PSP launch, so I just don't know if that's the right Need for Speed, but I know the Need for Speed that came out for the day one on PSP, I got that one with it, and my mom paid for it. And that was just a really cool moment that I only had enough for the system, and I wasn't even guaranteed a system, but GameStop hooked me up, and then my mom bought me a game. That was a really good day, so that was a good PSP memory for me. Number 4 on my top 5 PSP memories was while I was playing this game right here, Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. Played the living hell out of this game, loved it. I didn't know this about PSP at the time, but when I was playing the game, I was on a hidden package run. I was collecting all the hidden packages because I did go on to beat the game 100% completely, like finding everything and doing whatever. But during my hidden package run, I collected like 60 hidden packages in one session. I was just sitting there, just having a blast. I had the guide, and I was going through it, and I was hunting all the hidden packages, and my PSP died. And I didn't know about the feature where if you just plug it back in and turn it back on, that the game would be right where you left it. I did not know about that. I don't know. I just kind of, something that just escaped me, just a brain fart or something. I never knew about that. But when it happened, when the PSP turned off, I was devastated. I was like, oh my god, I just collected 60 hidden packages. The game's gone. Because when I was playing, like, GBA and DS, like, that was a thing. You had to always save your game. You had to watch your battery. That thing died. You lost all your progress. So I didn't know that about PSP. So I was so destroyed. I felt terrible. I was like, man, that sucks. So this was at a point where I played PSP like every day. I loved it. And then I went 4 days without playing it because I was just so bummed out. And I knew I'd have to turn it back on and recollect all of them. So then I charged it. And then like 4 days later, I turned it back on. And my PSP starting up, you can hear the UMD spin, and then just boom, there he is, Tommy Vercetti right there. Not Tommy Vercetti, that's Vice City. What is it? Tony Cipriani. So Tony Cipriani was just standing right there, right next to the last area of where I was in terms of hidden package. Like, I knew that was the one right there. It was like 70 something out of 100, and I was right where I left off. And I was like, oh my god, that is awesome. I was seriously, I was giddy with excitement. I was like, that is the greatest goddamn feature I have ever seen in a video game device. I was like, that is awesome. And then I played the hell out of Liberty City Stories, again, because I was like right back where I was. And I was like really surprised that it had that feature. I did not know that. And that was awesome. I always remember that. Number 3 on my top 5 PSP memories is watching these bad boys, Samurai Champloo on UMD. Now the reason why this is such a huge memory for me is because, well, this is back, PSP time. I love the PSP. I bought I bought all these games for it, and I was an advocate of UMD. I thought it was so cool to watch a movie on the go. This was before like smartphones could really do. There was no smartphones back then. Phones didn't really do this. The iPod video did it, but it was like such a small screen. Like, I thought it was totally cool that PSP had this great big screen to watch TV shows and all that and movies. So I bought Samurai Champloo, and again, back then I didn't have a whole lot of money. So the sucker that I am, I paid $20 for each one of these. These are the only Samurai Champloo UMDs that I have. They have 2 episodes on them. Now, realistically, looking back at this, I paid $80 goddamn for 8 episodes of Samurai Champloo. I got fucked in the ass on that one, right? But I loved them. Like, I loved the hell out of these things. It was only 8 episodes, and I spent a whole ton of money that I could have probably put to somewhere else, which I totally could have put to somewhere else, but I was still so happy at the time. I paid $80, got 8 episodes of Samurai Champloo on 4 separate UMDs, and I watched the hell out of these things. I mean, over and over and over and over and over again. And one thing I could always do with these UMDs is put them in, not even watch an episode, but just sit on the XMB on the PSP and let the hover icon start where it plays the music and it shows the images. And I just love the music of Samurai Champloo. Boom 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 boom. Number 2 in my top 5 PSP memories was actually removing the faceplate of the PSP. I had never done anything like that before, and there was like a lot of dust and crap under my screen, and it really got to the point where it was bothering me, and I knew it was possible to take off the faceplate. I was well aware of it. I've seen people do it, but me being no one that has no sort of technical prowess whatsoever, even something as simple as removing the PSP's faceplate at the time, it was sort of a foreign thing to me to bust into your electronics and try and fix and clean stuff. Like, that was just something that I was like a little scared to do. But nevertheless, I chose to do it, unscrewed it, lifted it off, and it's not like the Xbox 360's faceplate or something where it's so easy to do. Like, the PSP did take a little bit of work. You had to do all the screws. You had to carefully peel, take it off properly. And there was a lot of exposed machinery, under it. In the screen, you could see the actual bare screen, and you had to get it completely perfectly clean. But after I cleaned it and put on my faceplate again, I just felt really proud about it. I know it's so dumb to even think that, because I know some people are really good at all that tech stuff, actually breaking into your products, I don't know how the dudes at iFixit bust into those products. They're so technically capable, things like that are really out of this world for me. I think it's crazy what those people can do, or what you could do if you're that kind of person that is that good with technical stuff. But that was, keep in mind, this is the time frame. Nowadays, I don't mind busting into my products and getting a little dirty and messing with all the chips and all that. I have a little bit of experience in that area, but back then I was younger and it was so foreign to me. So to do it back then, I felt so proud of it. And then, I would go to school and everyone had PSPs, and I'd just be like, yeah, I took mine off. Really? You took it off? Yeah. Cleaned it. Can you do that to mine, dude? And I was like, oh yeah, this guy trusts me with his PSP. And that's when all the pussy rolled in. No, I'm just kidding. My number 1 PSP memory was playing Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories. Yeah, crazy, right? It gets 2 spots on my top 5 list. But I loved the hell out of this game. I played the living crap out of this game. Number 5 was obviously, or not number 5, whatever number it was for the PSP saving feature. That was because, that was sort of more of the PSP sort of thing, and GTA was just sort of the culprits of what happened. But point being, number 1 is GTA Liberty City Stories, and I'll tell you why. I just played the hell out of the game, a lot. Number 1, I guess, would really draw, boiled down to, man, I'm so good with words, right? Number 1 would really boil down to the multiplayer. Me and my buddy Michael were really close friends, and at the time we both had PSPs, we both had copies of the game, and we played the multiplayer. And I know at the time, PC had Grand Theft Auto multiplayer, I believe. But at the time, this was before, PS3 and stuff. This is before we had GTA 4 with multiplayer. And, like I said, I know PC had that stuff, but PSP had that. This was like the first like official Grand Theft Auto that had multiplayer built into the game. At least as far as I know, I'm pretty sure about that. I know the PC Grand Theft Autos had something like that, or they were mods or something. But that's the PC scene. But anyway, I loved it. Me and my friend would play the hell out of the multiplayer on this game. Like, it was so fun. I never laughed that hard in my life at that time. It was hilarious. Just having that free roam deathmatch in Liberty City. The GTA 3 Liberty City, of course, and it was just fun. I always played as, I forgot what her name is, Akiko or something. I played as the Asian chick all the time, and my friend Michael always played as the Gimp, which is this black dude in a full-on black spandex suit, and you could see his ass cheeks, and it was hilarious. It was like he was like a sex guy or whatever, like a sex addict or what have you. He was a character in the game. But we would play it all the time, and we just had so much fun doing like car chases and bike chases and going off ramps and jumping. And I remember I set up a base one time where I was staying in this like enclosed area that was near like the main hospital in the game, if you kind of know what I'm talking about. And whenever he'd come in, I'd try and like throw grenades or set satchels to try and blow him up, or I'd lead him off into the water and we'd die or something like that. It was so fun. I loved the multiplayer on that game. It was just a blast. And like I said, like at the time, like that was like the first real sort of Grand Theft Auto multiplayer as far as I knew. And yeah, those are my top 5 PSP memories. I played a hell of a lot of games on PSP, but GTA Liberty City Stories, that was my favorite PSP game, so it's most notable in this sort of scenario. But I love my PSP. What are your top 5 PSP memories? Because we don't really talk a lot about PSP on this channel. It's always been PS3 and Vita news and PS4 stuff because that's what's, current. But we never really talk about the past that much, especially PSP. There's a huge, distinct lack of PSP talk on this channel. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about some PSP stuff in the comments below and all that. But thank you all for watching another PlayStation Memories video. If you're new to this channel, subscribe for PlayStation news, reviews, Let's Plays. I do all that sort of junk. It's really fun and awesome, and it's a lot of fun and cool. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video.